Alright, so here's a common problem where you're introverted and you have to do networking. Not networking when you're building a business or running a business or already part of a business is a massive error, because it's the opportunity to meet people face to face, and great things happen that just simply can't happen online because there's so much more of a connection there. So not doing a networking event because you're introverted is dangerous for your business, but I get it. It can be quite hard to overcome those fears. So this is a video with a quick 3-part guide for how to get over this problem. If you're having to go to a networking event, how do you network with people? What are the 3 things you can do if you're introverted? And this came from a question from Danny Patrick, and she asked, what tips might you give to one who is introverted? It can be a bit hard to network for me as I'm more introverted in nature. So the first of the 3 steps or 3 tips is to really understand that if you go in to meeting people after a speaking gig, or perhaps when you're at a trade show or something like that, when you go in with an aim of something to actually ask people, it really helps you. The problem a lot of people have is when they approach someone thinking, I've got to network, I've got to get business cards, or I've got to try and connect, or I just should because this might be good for me. They're going in thinking, let's just hope it all works out. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I need to try and break the ice, and then let's see how it goes from there. Just before you go to the event, spend 2 minutes and jot down a couple of things you could actually ask someone. It's really simple, and I got this idea when it came from this idea of actually cold calling people, which is something I did about 15-16 years ago. And I started thinking, rather than just hoping they're going to like me, why don't I go in with a real reason for them to speak to me? So a real question to ask. And it depends what it is, but if you go in saying, I'm doing a survey and I'm really interested in how people respond to that kind of speech that we've just heard, or how many people are going for their first time event. What you're doing is you're shifting the focus off you and onto the question, and it gives you that icebreaker. If you have something to ask, it makes life a lot easier. So you just start with, hi, I'm so sorry to interrupt, I hope you don't mind, and you can just relax like that. Those who are more outgoing, confident, extroverted will jump straight in and say, hey John, how's it going? I get that, but with the more introverted people, it just makes sense to start with something like, look, I hope you don't mind, I'm really interested in asking doing a survey of people going to this event to see if this is the first time they've been, or something like that. Just a simple question. Have an aim with something to ask, and it will go a long way. So that's the first tip, go in with an aim of something to ask. The second tip for if you're an introverted and you're trying to network at an event is to lower the pressure on yourself, okay? The thing is that you're going into this conversation with the pressure of an objective that is, I need to try and close a sale, or get a connection, or hopefully they'll like me, or get a business card, or not come across like some kind of a bumbling idiot. But the thing is, you're setting your objective too high. And if this is your first event, I can completely appreciate you're probably feeling really nervous about speaking to literally anyone. So instead, lower the actual pressure on yourselves. This is the same for people who are, again, if I go back to my cold calling days, this is the same for people who are going on to their first day of phone calls. They've never done it in their life. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to dial a number and hope it's going to work out and they'll get a sale. Far better to set the objective just to begin with, if you're introverted or very nervous, to let's just dial the number. Participation. That's my objective. And that's the same here for this event. It's no different at all. It's about saying, right, my objective is participation. All I need to do is say hi to people. No matter what happens after that, I've actually succeeded. That's, anything after that's actually a bonus. But for now, it's literally just say hi to people. Maybe your next event, if you're still quite nervous, your next objective might be something like, I just need to have 5 conversations. Then the one after is, let's see if I can get 3 business cards. Or can I ask someone 2 questions? Get your objectives really low, and then you'll nail them and your confidence will come from there. again, those that are very confident, extroverted people will be like, this makes no sense, that's ridiculous, you should jump in, your objective should be to have a great conversation. Sure, but if you're introverted, it's very difficult to be that person. So instead, just start with, my objective here is to participate. All I've got to do is say tonight, after all of the presentations, we're in the networking event afterwards, I have to simply speak to 5 people. Even if it's the word hi, that's it. Even if it's passing someone in the corridor, that's it. Then you'll feel like you're moving, because small wins equal momentum, and that's going to make a big difference, okay? So the first of these tips is, of course, to go in with an aim of asking something. The second one is lower your objectives slightly to take the pressure off, to, you know, have an objective like it's just to participate or to speak to 5 people. But the third tip I think is a really important thing. It's just more of a mindset, something to be aware of. There are loads of people who are just feeling the same as you. When you're really nervous, you don't see anyone else's nerves. What you see is loads of other people who seem to have it all together. So you need the crack or the hack, which is that there is a certain thing you can look out for, and it's really obvious actually, and they're the people who are nervous. Go speak to the people who are nervous, and they'll be so relieved that you've spoken to them. And if you use the other 2 tips as well, you'll be sailing, no problem. And this is the hack. It's so simple. You'll kick yourself when you're aware of it, when you go to your networking event, when you look around all the people there. The hack is this: the people standing on their own are nervous. With very few exceptions, if someone's like on his phone busy doing some work, or you know, if there's someone doing something that's clearly about themselves, typically people just standing on their own, they're kind of trying to look busy, they're the nervous ones. Target them, because they will feel more nervous than you, and they will be so elated that you've actually engaged with them. They'll be totally open. The ice will melt and they'll be happy to engage. So there's your 3 tips. Make sure you go in with something to ask. Plan that first. So maybe it's a question, but have that aim. Second thing is to lower your, really lower your objective pressure down to something like just participate or speak to 5 people in that night. So you don't have to really force yourself to do huge things on your first event, or if you're really nervous. And thirdly, just make sure you target first of all the people who aren't speaking to other people. They're going to be the nervous ones. They're the ones standing in the corners or against walls. It's a little psychological thing. Against the corner, against the wall means you're not exposed, so that you don't feel as vulnerable. On their own, against the wall, they're the ones to target, okay? Good luck with your event. Let me know in the comments below what things that you feel are useful. If you're an introvert and you've had success at events, or if you feel you've got some tips here as well, it'd be great to share them. But otherwise, good luck, and I'll catch up with you soon. Thanks so much to Danny Patrick for the question.